well, I guess it might be 12 o'clock for some of you. I apologize for being a little late. I had two technical issues today. So I'm just checking that everything is going live on the Facebook channel. Okay, great. I'm going to hop right in then, and then that way, hopefully we can make up some lost time. So again, my apologies, but we're going to dive in. Also, I think I said this yesterday, and then it ended up being about the same length as the day before, but today definitely will be a little bit shorter because I'm purely going to be showing you how to edit. Tomorrow we are talking repurposing your content, so there'll be more strategy there because we're going to talk about like how we can use it for other pages and different strategies along that line as well. And then day 5, which is my favorite day, which will be Friday, is everything about engagement. And I have some tips and tricks that you probably have never heard of that are really going to help depending on which platform you're on. So, and we'll cover a lot of different platforms. So if you're like, well, I just don't want Instagram strategies because I'm on Facebook or I'm on TikTok or I'm on YouTube or whatever it may be, I'm going to be giving a lot of strategies across the board for that. So definitely want to be here for Fridays for sure. Today, I'm going to show you two different ways that you can edit your videos. And sorry, my puppy's in the background. One is a lot easier for desktop and one is a lot easier for mobile. One thing that I will say is that my goal for this week, I've mentioned this a couple times, is to make the process of video editing and video marketing as simplified as possible. So even with like the equipment and gear we've talked about, I've tried to be like, okay, at the basics, here's what you can use: an iPhone and your window, right? So obviously there are always ways you can heighten things, and these are simple platforms because I don't want the tech side of this to be an excuse that holds you back or something that feels extra overwhelming when sorry, my dog's shaking, when you actually can continue your content and recording without being held up by those things. And then those of you who are excited or who want to learn more or who genuinely already have a background or interest in editing, photography, videography, then that's when you can take the extra step and do some more research and dive in deeper by all means. So just know that as I go in, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible so that it kind of feels like, oh, that's it? That's all I have to do? I can do that. So that's just my goal through all of this the entire time. So let's jump into the presentation. I only have a couple slides to reiterate a few things, and then I'll jump off and show you something and kind of like editing in real time together. And then I will come back to the slides at the end for your homework assignment. One thing I wanted to say is that I had issues trying to figure out the best way for you to send the videos. So I'm going to just drop an email in this one, and I will do it in the last live, that you can email me both your video from yesterday if you weren't able to like DM me or send it somewhere else, and the chopped up clips, because today we're just, you'll see, but you can send all of that together into this email of mine, and then that way I can give you feedback on everything and make sure you feel like you're getting better along the process. But tomorrow and Friday will be some really big days, so I'm excited for that. And that one, I'll give feedback for both Thursday and Friday's homework, so I apologize if I'm catching up on a few of the homework today. Monday and Tuesday, I was a bit out of the house working with other clients. Today through Friday, I'm just here by myself. So I will definitely be catching up if you are still waiting on that. So I apologize. And then also, yes, Thursday and Friday, tomorrow and Friday will be more tactful strategies. So I'll be looking at your pages and maybe offering advice on which platforms will be best or what strategies to consider. Whereas Monday through today are focusing more on the recording of it, the video of it, and then giving tips from that, if that makes sense. So just for those of you who've submitted homework, thank you so much. I have loved them and they've just made my day. So let's dive in. Whoops, this slide was from yesterday. So today we're talking editing, not filming. Housekeeping stuff. Once again, I'm going to go over the challenges and prizes really quick. Then we're going to dive into editing, and then I will give you your little homework assignment. So I know there's a lot of you who've been here since day one, so you already know these. I'll run through these really quick but for anyone who's new or for anyone who joins today, tomorrow, or Friday and is backtracking, we have 3 options for people to win prizes. There is definitely 1 or 2 of you who are already gunning for this one, this referral prize. So keep it up. I see you. I've already tallied some of the points. But to get the referral prize, all you have to do is invite as many people as possible to this group. That's it. That's all you have to do. So if you send them the link, the link is in the first days, and I will make sure it's in today's description right after this. All you have to do is send the link, or you can copy the URL if you have it pulled up on any browser. That's going to work. Just send them the link, or you can tell them the name of the group. The group is Digital Marketing Tips for Entrepreneurs and Business Owners, so they can type that in their Facebook, find this group. And as long as when they click to get approved into the group, there is a 3rd question that says, how did you hear about us, or did you get referred? And if so, by who? All they need to do is say, I got referred by Tom. I got referred by Danny. And then if you're like, Tammy always forgets, or maybe like, I just want to make sure that I get my points. If I'm Chris, I invited, Kathy and Joe, then you can also let me know, DM me, message me, anywhere, and just say, hey, I invited these 3 people, these 2 people, 2 and 3 people, and then let me know their names. So as I see those roll in, I will give you those points too. So that is it. If you refer the most people to this group by Friday, then you get a 90-minute strategy session. This can be on any platform. This can be on a collection of platforms. This can be solely focusing on editing. This can be focusing on coming up with content inspiration of content that's catered to you that you should create. This can be based on ad strategy. Anything under the sun that deals with digital marketing, you can have your 90 minutes on. And it can be a lot of things. We could start talking ads. We can then focus on the next 30 to 90 days or 3 months that you want to build your strategy for. We can talk about funneling your content into a sales funnel area or whatever, or how do we want to create content that's basically going to promote sales. So anything, we can talk anything. So you will get a form before that 90-minute, and it will kind of prompt you on a few things, maybe get you even thinking, because it's not your job to know all the things that you could want to talk about. So I'll prompt you with a few things and see what's most important to you. And then we will have a 90-minute customized call, video call. You get the recording of that call. You leave with, it's a digital copy of basically our full strategy, your next steps. It's great. It's going to be really helpful. Then if you do so choose to get the video marketing method course, which will be live next week, then you get $400 off, which is the biggest discount that I probably will ever have. So if that is something of interest, you are the only person who has access to that mega discount. And so if you choose to use it, it is yours. The last thing is you get any course for free. I have 3 that are already public. You can choose any of those. They're differently priced. You can choose the high one, the one you don't have, whatever. But you get either one, just one of them for free on all 3 of those things collectively is your prize. The next one is participation prize. This is just by liking. If you are liking these posts, if you are commenting in these posts, if you're asking questions, if you are posting on social media, on Instagram stories, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, it doesn't matter, as long as you tag me so I know and can find you. All of that adds to so many points. So I've seen quite a few of you doing that already, which is amazing. I'm so excited, and it warms my heart. So you can take a picture as we're doing this training and post about that. You can just talk about how you are going to beef up your video strategy and then tag me. It can be anything along those lines. As long as you're tagging me, I don't care what the post is about. And then the last one is team prizes. So I actually haven't even announced the division of the teams, but I kind of liked that because then I'm going to announce it today, but that way you don't even know which team you're on. And hopefully it's just been, okay, I want to start participating and submitting homework. And then you might not even know that your team's in the lead. But I will announce, it's just alphabetically by first name. But the team prize is a group coaching call for everyone in that team. Even if you didn't fully participate to everything, you could still win a group coaching call. So it's, you just get it by submitting. As long as the team is the one that submits the most homework, then that is the team that wins. So all of that is yours. And you can get a collection. You might win the team prize and the referral prize if you're on a team that wins. So there's a lot of room for some crossover here for the prizes. Okay, enough about the prizes. Oops, don't look yet. That's your homework assignment. So I'm gonna pop off and open up. I'm gonna talk about 2 different ways we can edit. So I'm gonna show you iMovie first, which is helpful for desktop. If you have Mac, it's free, or a Mac if your computer is a Mac. If you don't, there are other softwares. You might also be able to download it as well. But I will be talking very generically. So my goal is that you will be able to transfer some of these strategies for whatever platform you're using. But I wanted to show I like using iMovie on desktop if I'm editing like a YouTube video or something more long form, because I have a bigger screen and it's easier to kind of maneuver the editing process with my keyboard. Then I'll also show you an app that you can download. So say you don't have a Mac, say you use your iPad, or say you use your phone more, or that would be more helpful for you. I have an app that's really, I think it's free. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's free. I can't remember. There's a couple that I've like purchased for like $2. So even if it's not free, it would be very cheap, but I'm pretty positive this one's free. So I'll show you also one that you can do on your phone, and then that way you can do on the go. And honestly, I spend more time editing on my phone because sometimes if they're short clips, I can just trim and slice and do that really quickly rather than having to open up my computer, kind of load everything and then download, upload, like it just is a higher process than my phone. So I'll share both of those. And then the goal is that you can find a different app. If you don't like the app that I suggest, that is totally fine. In my Funnel Your Content course, I actually list like 15 other ways and platforms you can edit content. So these are by no means the only ones, but I will just be picking these 2 to give you an idea, because if I went through all of them, they become redundant, and then it comes down to just which one you like the most. So if that's of interest, Funnel Your Content would be the course for you, and would go into detail on editing more so than we'll do today, but you'll have enough excuse me, to go off of today to really beef up your editing. Okay, so let me just open up my iMovie. All right, give me one moment. It's gonna load. While it does that, I will say that when it comes to editing, our goal for today is to kind of start thinking, like the editing process is a great time to envision what content could come from this piece of content. I'm just gonna go back and check. Okay, cool. It looks like everyone can still see my screen. So I just wanted to check. I don't want to be like recording and then you can't even see me this whole time. Okay, so now that you can see my screen, I always feel so exposed, like when people can see like projects you're working on or your social media. I did a company training and I was showing examples of my personal profile so they could see the inner workings of things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so exposed of like all the content I like or things that I follow. Even if they're not bad, you're just like, everyone knows that I like, I don't know, business things or music thing or whatever it is. You're just like, oh, okay. So all you're gonna do is click a new movie, and then you're gonna have this kind of blank screen we're working with here, okay? And I'm gonna upload a video here in a second and show you, but the whole goal of today is to start thinking about the video you filmed yesterday. Was you had a homework assignment of filming a video that was, 3 to 5 minutes, okay? The goal was that maybe this could be used for a YouTube video, or just a Facebook video, an IGTV, something that was a slightly more mid-form, like not quite long form, but also not a 30-second, 15-second Instagram story clip. So this one specifically is, our goal for today is to take a 3 to 5 minute. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less, but we wanted something that we could work with and we could pull multiple pieces from. But what I want you to do as we open this video is to start thinking with your video and go, okay, as you open yours, think about what platforms you're on. Are you on Instagram? Because if you are, now I want you to start thinking, is there a clip in here that could be 15 seconds, 30 seconds that, or yeah, those are usually the good ones to use as promo or something. And even in promo just of the video, is there something like a cool line, a cool, an enticing or moving piece that I talk about? or does it tease the video itself? So start thinking about what could be an Instagram story. Then start thinking about, okay, if it is a 5-minute video, maybe this is something, maybe it's a tip video, 5 tips on da 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 da, whatever. Maybe you want to pull one of those tips, the most like engaging tip, and you want to make that its own IGTV or its own reel. That way you could drive and tease one of the tips to people then going to watch your whole YouTube video, or your Facebook video, or just to give them like a piece of it, and then they're engaging with that. Okay. And then if you're not on Instagram, maybe you have a blog or you are on Pinterest. Now that you have a video, if you upload it to YouTube, that's typically a really great way to do it. Or it could be like an Instagram post or a Facebook post, and then you can create a pin from that. And then that way, if people are searching for those things, maybe it's hairstyling tips, maybe it's makeup tips. It doesn't have to be tips. Maybe it's advice in the real estate industry, or buying your first home, or interior decorating. So whatever it is, then I want you to start thinking about that. Could be something that people are where are they searching? Where is your core audience? Pinterest, people are searching for a lot of things there, a lot of tutorials, a lot of recipes. If you are in the health space, whether it's fitness, like you're a trainer and you have workouts, you should definitely be on Pinterest. If you are a chef or you love making your own recipes, you're plant-based, you're vegan, you are keto, paleo, you have something kind of like a specific niche, you do fasted dieting, intermittent fasting, all of that, you should totally be on Pinterest because people are searching for that stuff. Along those lines of makeup looks, makeup tutorials, hair tutorials, fashion. If you are in fashion, you should 100% be on Pinterest. Music, yes, as well. I feel like those industries are slightly more concentrated, but that's not necessarily a bad thing if you are in music to still be on Pinterest, because then if it's slightly less concentrated, then you could be more likely to be seen. But anytime basically you have something that could be a post, it could be a blog and you write in detail about it. Maybe it's a recipe, right? Maybe you filmed this video. It's a recipe. It's granola, homemade healthy granola. And so you have this video, it's beautiful. You put the video on YouTube. Now you can add like the YouTube embed so that you're still getting your views. That's why like using YouTube would be helpful if you're doing consistent videos and then you want to make pins out of it. But you can certainly just have that be like a post on a photo on Instagram and show the end product. And then you could create a pin from that. And that's totally fine as well. But the whole point is then start thinking about now, okay, should this be a pin on Pinterest? Is this something that people are searching for on that platform? Same with YouTube. If it's a long form video, almost every time I'm like, you should be on YouTube. But if that's overwhelming or you're not ready for that stage yet, it's also fine. I would recommend, even if you're not optimizing or actively promoting your YouTube channel, if you're making any of these videos that are really a minute and a half or more, you should just be putting them on YouTube just to put them on YouTube, and even just give them a title. That's it, at a bare minimum, because you never know what people are going to be searching for. And if your video is really great, then they're going to have an opportunity to find that. And once you hit the basic requirements, you can start getting paid for your views and your engagement on YouTube, which you cannot get paid on your likes and engagement on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. When you have a lot of followers, you have opportunities to work with brands or other things or other people that might pay you, but you could have 50,000 followers, you could have 100,000 followers. You are not guaranteed any money just for purely posting. YouTube is the one platform that's different. So that's my little spiel of why I always push YouTube. And then again, you can just do the bare minimum, just make sure your video is on there, because it is going to help over time. And then the next thing you know, without even trying, you might have already hit those requirements, and then you can start monetizing just by posting. So if you want to know more about like those requirements or how you can actually start getting paid on YouTube, I actually do have a course on that. It's called Level Up, the Level Up course. So that is linked in my bio on Instagram. I have posts on my Facebook. So, and I'll put a link above too if it's of interest. That is also one of the courses you could win by the end of the week. So just keep that in mind if that is now brewing in your mind of, ooh, maybe I should be on YouTube. You can learn how to level up your content. Okay, my spiel is done. Let's go ahead and upload one. But I just hopefully that sparked, like, now your brain should already be going and saying, oh, wow, I will definitely want to make a pin out of this. I definitely want to put this on my blog because I have a blog. I definitely want to put this on Twitter and make a meme from it. I'll show you what I mean, that was bad. But you get an idea of what you should be starting to think about. Okay, let me grab, where did I put it? I think it's in downloads. Okay, my number one challenge. I just love how they're never organized how you need them to be. It has to be at the top. If you have a hard time scrolling like I am at this very moment to find your video, I'll show you another way that you can do it here. I just wanted to see if I could find it. That's okay. I'll show you the other way. Oh, here it is. Go figure. I was looking for that number one. So I just recently re-downloaded that. So on my downloads, it should have already been to the top, which would have been nice, but it's not in here. So find your video wherever it's located. If it's on your desktop, you can pull it from there. Then just push select import selected. The other way I was going to show you is if you went to your Finder. Oops, my thing is in full screen. But if I wasn't in full screen, then I could, oh my goodness, guys, why are we just having some trouble? Then I could go to my downloads here by clicking my Finder if you have a Mac, and then boom, here's that top video, and you can just drag and drop into your session. Okay, so those are two options if you're having any issues with finding your content or just uploading it. Next here, I'm gonna maybe move myself here. Okay, now you can kind of scroll through and see the video. Again, there's so much more you can do in iMovie. I'm going to show you the bare minimum. And then also, if you are someone who's super interested in video editing and you want to take it to the next level, iMovie is pretty much like a good basic start. Great platform for just you doing what you needs to do. But if you were wanting to take it to the next level, then Final Cut Pro is typically kind of the standard in terms of video editing, or at least the next level. There are even probably more advanced stuff as that. But if you have no editing experience, I highly recommend not going and jumping into that, because like we said yesterday, getting more equipment before you're ready or more software before you're ready, not saying you can't use it ever, but I don't want that to be an excuse on why you can't start progressing. And you're going to run into, I speak from experience, more issues. I ran into more issues by trying to learn Final Cut Pro and a camera, and I was just trying to amplify everything, but I had no experience, none. And maybe you'll be just way smarter than me and it'll just come more easily to you. But again, if I was like, if I can teach people the most simple way to do this, then there's no excuse, and then they can still, progress and see their content grow. But if that was of interest and you're a little bit smarter than me or catches on quicker, then you can definitely use Final Cut Pro. I just wanted to throw that out. But if you have no experience, I highly recommend starting with this or one of the apps and then kind of working your way up. So, oops, I'm not the video. All you're going to do is click it, drag it down. I think you can double click it too, it doesn't matter. Now, I just want to show, wow, these are going to be fun little stills of myself. You can see this one's already edited. So there's like a video filter on this that was not from iMovie, by the way. I can talk about that in another video, maybe tomorrow or maybe at the end. And then there's like little specs you can see as it starts playing. Oh, there you go. So this one is already editing. There's like some light filter too. So typically this would just be the raw footage. Whatever you filmed yesterday, or maybe it is edited, doesn't matter. If like you kind of put it through a little filter on your phone or something, that is totally fine. You can still upload it. And then mainly we're focusing on like trimming it down and cutting smaller pieces up. So now you can do one of two things. You can just click on your video, and when it gives you that icon of the two arrows pointing both ways, then you can drag it. Oh wait, I think mine's already too small. But you can also do this if that doesn't work for you. You can just pull this slider and then boom, boom, boom. It's basically just allowing you to look more into the video in detail and go small clip by clip, rather than if you're so zoomed out, it's like you're waiting for that 1 second and then trying to like splice it there when you're like in between breaths or something, right? This way I can get really, really close and I can see the audio. Yesterday and in day one, we talked about a tip when filming is to clap in between your takes. You can do individual takes, like you can press record, try a take, press record again to stop it. And then you can do that again, press record, take again, press it to stop it. Or I recommended that I prefer now, just over time, I will press record, let it run, and I will do multiple takes until I feel like at least the last one or one of them was a good take. And more times than not, now I'll go until my last take. I'm like, ooh, that was a good one. And then now when I bring these up, I'm always just going to the last take more times than not because I know I ended on a good one. And then it gives me a few practice runs and I can still use bloopers if I want, but then I'm uploading one file into here and it's a little more manageable than having to know, which 5 files were the takes for this one video. But if you batched all your content, filmed a lot yesterday, then you're like, I have 15 potential clips here and then I'm trying to figure that out and wasting time. So I suggested one take until you get that video you want. And clapping, YouTube is a little bit different. If you're trying to film like a long form video or mid form video, if you're trying to just talk for 5 minutes straight, then you could end that one, right? You could do one full take and be like, okay, that was 6 minutes. I'm going to stop. If you wanted to retake, you can. More times than not, I try to really plan the YouTube videos or anything that's more mid-form, long-form, and I will just try and get the whole thing done. Now, one note here, because I know some of you are creating more mid-form videos, is here's a tip that I will say I do. If you know you are filming a YouTube video or any type of long-form video, a 3 to 5 to 8 to 10 minute video, that's a little overwhelming to be like, I can't make any mistakes. So I make mistakes. But what I do is if I were to fumble on my words or something, or I say the wrong thing, then I just stop for a second. It's still recording. And then I will say, I'll clap. I'll do my clap still. And then I'll start that sentence over. Sorry, I was getting a spam call. I'll start that sentence over. So that way, I don't have to restart the video. But I know that when I pull it up in here, I can just cut when I messed up, and then it can just start again with the top of the sentence, if that makes sense. Or I could go back if I was midway through the thought process. If I just really wasn't liking it and I messed it up, I would just stop, clap, regroup myself. That's totally fine. And then I would go back to the beginning of that thought process and then try and keep going. That way, I'm not just fumbling through the whole thing and being like, that wasn't my best take, and then trying it again. I'm basically just trying to film the whole thing in one take, but if I mess up, just restating those lines, and that way I can trim the bad stuff out. And so if that's helpful, I just wanted to share that. But the clapping, just make sure you're clapping before takes, because it really does, if you are an iMovie, game changer. Because now you can see, obviously I don't have any clips in this one because it's already edited, so it's not the raw footage, I apologize. But you can see where it spikes, these yellow, where it crosses over into yellow, means that the threshold for the volume is much higher. So I probably said that wrong, but you know what I mean. You can see the audio is spiking. So let me show you. I'm gonna say something that's loud or higher pitched kind of thing. That was what, so annoying. That's the but I is what that first thing is. And then this I also, look where this lands. About that. Or that, that. So that's helpful. None of these are high enough to be the claps. If I had clapped, it would be a much higher spike. But you can at least go and see any of those yellows. And then as you're visually going through these, and you have an idea. So another good thing, and then we'll talk about the strategy of editing here, but I just want to talk about a few of the basics, is I love, if I'm trying to edit, to see where it trails off. So where it gets lower and lower is usually where I'm taking a breath, where I'm ending a sentence, something along those lines. So that's usually my cue of when a sentence or a thought process is ending. And so then I could be okay, from here to here could maybe be a clip, if that makes sense. Because I see that this cuts low and then this cuts low. But maybe this isn't a long enough clip. Let's listen. And then I could go back further and take more. For watching more of our content. Of course, you can add. So for watching more of our content is really not long enough to be a clip, and it's not teasing anything. I'm so zoomed in. So what I might do, because I'm just trying to find clips at this point, and I'm not, if I was putting the video in, I would first start by trimming out anything. If we're editing the video, I want to trim out anything that is, I want to trim out anything that is a blooper, anything that I had a cough, I sneezed, the dog ran in the background, if there was like cars or traffic and I stopped talking. I want to basically find those moments. Sorry, I had a thought process because I don't want to go too much into, I've talked about the strategy for like adding, like figuring out what are going to be the Instagram stories, what are going to be the pin posts, but we are going to talk more about that tomorrow. Today's goal is for you to just know how to edit this video. Yesterday you filmed it, but maybe it doesn't look as great as you want it to. Maybe there are some moments where you kind of fumbled, which you're like, I could edit those out, or I could really fix that down. And I realized that I picked one that's already edited. It would have been more helpful to pick one that was fully raw. But I will still show you. Let's just talk about, so you upload your video. Step one, the video you filmed yesterday is already gorgeous and it probably could just be a post on its own without having to do anything to it, but let's say you want to amplify it. You're going to upload it here, you're going to pull it down or double click, and then now typically the beginning, you're probably going to have some dead space. What I mean by that is like maybe you push record, and then you're kind of like adjusting. Maybe checking your makeup in the little lens or whatever, you know, you're just like adjusting yourself, and then maybe you're even thinking about what you want to say first. Okay, I have to create an IGTV series. This one is layering tips. I don't know. Okay. Hey, I'm Marissa. Welcome to our week 1 of our IGTV series, Layering Tips with Marissa. Today we're talking about how to layer a sweatshirt and whatever. You get the idea. So there's going to be that dead space before I started. Hey, it's Marissa. This is blah, blah, blah. So that's what we want to trim down or cut out. So you have 2 ways of doing this. You could just pull this in, slide it in, and then that stuff's deleted, if that makes sense. Now, if you were like, oh, I went too far, you can still pull it back and it's going to kind of bring it back into the mix. So if I wanted to start here.
How to keep people within your channel as long as possible.
How to keep people within your channel as long as possible. Like I could technically have started there if I wanted. And then one small thing, so say that was dead space, I wanted to just trim that out. Okay, that's not bad. When I'm editing, I usually am zoomed all the way in because then I can really find when the spikes are, and when it goes low, it's sometimes helpful to then cut then. But one thing you can do, if you feel like you started so abruptly, like you were like, hey, I'm Kathy, and maybe that just felt like a lot or something, then you can hover over this bubble, this little round blue circle, and you can kind of just pull that in, and it's just going to soften how abrupt like your first sentence or your first word is, if that makes sense. So let's see if you can hear the difference. It might be subtle.
How to keep people within your...
So the how was a little softer. Listen.
How to keep people...
Oops. Well, now I changed the clip, but let's...
On how to keep people within your...
So it's very subtle, but it really does help.
How to keep people within your...
With it not being so abrupt as your video is starting. So I highly recommend that. And then at the end, you can do the same thing to kind of like fade it out a little bit. So let's say, okay, you trimmed the beginning. There's no dead space yet. It sounds good. It comes in right when you want it to. One note as a best practice, because this is part of editing, the first 3 to 7 seconds are the most crucial, because as just short attention span consumers, we decide in the first 3 to 5 seconds, 3 to 7 seconds, if we're going to invest in watching a video or not. So you got to make it good, meaning that you could even start with, I give you an example of, hey, I'm Marissa and this is my series. Now, if I was doing that series consistently on my Instagram or something, then it could still work, because that post is going to be generated to mainly people on my feed who already are aware of me and have an affinity for me. Whereas a YouTube video, a TikTok, those have a lot of organic reach to people outside of you who maybe have no affinity to you. They have no idea who you are, which is a good thing. So we really do want to, especially for those, but really for all social platforms, it is helpful to start strong. So maybe I would start the clip, instead of like, I'm Marissa Vegan, welcome to my channel, blah, blah, blah. I might be like, I have my number 1 tip on how to get people into your channel and stay there for as long as possible. Whatever that enticing thing is. And then maybe you go, before I go into that, I'm Marissa. I am a digital marketer, and this is week 2 of our 4-part series. So let's get into it. Do you see the difference there of, instead of introducing myself, I gave like the enticing part of this video first. And then I said, before we do that, I'm so-and-so. Don't forget to subscribe, comment down below if you want to see more videos like this, whatever. And then I go into, okay, so let's jump into it. Tip number 1, whatever. You get the idea. So if that's helpful, just think about, are my first couple seconds enticing? Are they going to capture people? Are they going to stop and actually want to keep watching this video? Because it doesn't matter. We've now switched places where, I mean, not completely. It used to be a strategy to like, you wanted people to stay to the end. So like you put only the good stuff at the end. We still kind of do that, but now there's way more pressure. If your beginning isn't good, they're not going to stay to the end. So they will never see what the end is. So you can't save all of the good stuff till the end. You kind of want to start strong and start enticing, and then beef it up, say what you need to say, and then still end strong or have something at the end. So another example could be, here's my number one tip on how to keep people in your channel. I'm Marissa Vegan. This is my 2-part series. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. So my tip is before I were to go into that, I would say the enticing part. My name is Marissa. It's my 2-part series. If you stay to the end, there's a chance to win blank. If you stay to the end, I show you then how to implement this step. If you stay to the end, I give you a customized strategy that you can screenshot, and then you can look at this recipe or whatever later. Whatever it may be. Think about what is something that people would want to stay for, and then they're like, well, now I'm invested because I want that. So just start thinking about that way in terms of the strategy. Open strong. If you want to build your affinity in your brand, like state who you are, state that stuff, encourage them to subscribe, follow, whatever it may be, and then kind of give them a reason to stay to the end. You don't have to do this for every post, but start getting into the hang of that. And again, you don't have to do this because I didn't say this yesterday as part of the strategy. So just start thinking this for future videos, or if you want to re-record knowing this, you certainly can. But I just want you to keep that in mind. And then you do the length of the video. So really, when you are bringing in that raw footage, you're going to trim the beginning, I'm assuming, because every one of mine always has some dead space, some breathing. I want second one to be me starting a conversation and it be enticing. So trim what you need to trim, pull it in. You also can click apart. If I was like, okay, where this bubble jumps down, obviously I'm so technical. You can click Command B. I had to remember because I just do it without thinking. So Command B is, I forget what it stands for, but it basically is cutting. It's like splitting that video. Oh my gosh, we've already 45 minutes in. I said this was going to be a short video. So wherever you need to chop things, just Command B. Okay, Command B. And then maybe this one, you're like, ooh, I just messed that up completely. So now I can just click it and I push delete. That's all I did. So now, okay, this clip is running into this one. I'm going, and my next tip is da-da-da-da. So if I wanted, I could also bring those in and bring those in to fade it in. But also, especially if you're doing tips, it is not that uncommon for it to be like, and so make sure that you're always adding this to your tip. And then, okay, I was just making sure I wasn't having comments I didn't see. And then, what was I saying? That it can be abrupt. So if you say, and don't forget to put that in all your videos. Tip number 2, like it's totally fine to have that kind of be choppy, and you don't have to like have this as well for each one. It's totally fine. So consider that really in this stage of tonight's homework and in editing, you're just trimming everything down, and you're basically trying to make that video as effective as possible. You filmed everything that should be in that video yesterday, so now I just want you to trim both ends, and then I want you to slice anything that needs to be out of it and take it out of it. If you messed up, you fumbled over your words, maybe you had a cough, a sneeze, your dog ran in the background, your baby's crying, whatever it is. Take those out so that what you're left with is the video that you very much like. You're like, okay, this is what I like about it. It looks great. And then even at the end, remember, you can do the same thing and you can pull this in. If you had some dead space there, you can just find that part, Command B, and then click this box so that it's highlighted with the yellow, and then delete. Okay, now my video is 6 minutes and 44 seconds. That's exactly how I want it to be, whatever. And then you even can go to the beginning, click that, and you can push play. If you want to look at any other part of the video specifically, you can always just hover over it, and then you can push play, or you can push the space bar.
Would be exactly the way to do it.
The space bar is going to start playing your video as well, so keep that in mind. If for whatever reason your audio was too loud, you can always click over this line and then pull it all down.
That you created in a very
It's a little quiet, so I probably wouldn't go that low. But you know what I mean? If you were like, but you don't want it up here. Do you see how high all of it's clipping? And we don't want that. So you want to be kind of in that nice range where maybe you have a few spikes of yellow, but you're really in that blue range there.
on which video or clip.
So just keep that in mind. But if there are parts of your video that are super loud or you were starting to yell, I don't know, maybe you're really enthusiastic, then you can always pull down a certain part of a clip. If like in this one section, you're like, ooh, I kind of just like yelled at everyone, but like I want to keep that, then you can just like pull a clip down of audio, if that makes sense. And okay, once you've like clipped everything together that you like, you've watched it, you go, yes. So besides visually, like I have a filter on this. So let's say you still don't love it yet because like you're like, oh, I could add a little filter to make myself look a little tanner, a little better, whatever it may be. But you're like, from the structure standpoint, this video is perfect. I have everything I need in this video. So then once you are done, I'm not even going to focus on audio, titles, backgrounds, because in the app one, you can actually cut things into different dimensions and add text and titles and stuff. So that's kind of where I personally do that. So I use iMovie purely for editing large pieces of content. So now once it's in the amount, like you like the content in here, you like everything you said, there's no weird hiccups or, gaps in here, then you're just going to go, if you needed to, these are all like the editing features where like you could change the saturation, and you could kind of like move these around. I don't know if it'll have, yeah, it's working a little bit. So if I wanted it more like saturated and colorful, I could do that. You can change a lot of things. You can also crop, but, and you can also change the speed. If you were doing a time-lapse video, right? Or say you just purely had a camera running and you were painting something, then you could have a camera running, you painting at a normal pace, and then upload it to iMovie and then put it on fast. And then this one clip, whatever you have highlighted, or if you have your whole video highlighted, then that's going to speed it up.
Might look like.
So you get the idea. So just know that there are other features. You can also slow things down. If you were trying to like show something in detail, that was me like also being slow to show you. But whatever, once you're done, then you just go up here and you can click File. I prefer clicking File because then I have it in my downloads and I can save it to a hard drive just as a backup. I could save it to a Dropbox link or a Google folder if I wanted to. I always love having backups because you just never know what will happen. And if these social media platforms just quit tomorrow, then we don't know if we'll get to keep all of our content. So just keep that in mind. I prefer that. You can also directly upload to Facebook, to YouTube, but no matter what, I typically just download as a file, save it somewhere else so that I have it, and then I will upload separately, if that makes sense. But you are more than welcome to try and upload to anything or to email it to someone, or to have it on Vimeo, whatever you want, but just know that those are options. You're gonna go into File, you are gonna name this sucker, number one tip, whatever. And then you can add any tags. The description, I'll add again more. So number one tip, maybe it's YouTube vid. I love good abbreviations. And then you're gonna push next, and then it's gonna start downloading. It is gonna take a minute depending on how long. Oh, sorry. Now this is how it's gonna be saved in your download. So if you wanted to change anything else, then you could do that. And now it's going to start this little pie circle and fill it up as it's loading. So we are in very early stages. You can't even see any of the pie yet. So it has to go through the whole circle for the video to be done, and then it'll be in your downloads. Once it's in your downloads, if I wanted to add a video filter or something, that's when usually I will airdrop it to my phone, and then I will use the app. I am debating if I should just move the app to tomorrow. No, because some of you might need to use the app. So here, let me pull the app up. But tomorrow we will focus on the app again because it'll be helpful for like cutting it up. Okay, so you can see that now the pie is growing. Very technical over here. If I wanted, I'm just gonna cancel this because I'm not gonna use this video. I made it worse. But then it would end up in my downloads. And now I'm going to keep this up for a second, and I'm going to show you the app, but I'm going to show you like just a few things, and then tomorrow we're going to go in more detail on now that tonight's I'm all over the place. Tonight you're gonna edit, and I'll show you your homework in a second. This full video so that it's just clean and concise and you love it. And then tomorrow we're gonna talk about how I started this conversation of what could be an Instagram story, what could be a pin, what could be for your blog, what could be for an email blast, what could be for Twitter, anything. So that's gonna be tomorrow's conversation in more detail. A lot of these blend together, so it's hard for me to like divide them, honestly. But I wanna show you this. So the InShot app is what we're gonna use as the phone app for editing. And then CooneyCam is what I love to use for this video filter. So this is what I use CooneyCam purely for just adding a video filter, some texture, that's it. It does not allow you to edit, it doesn't do anything else. I wish there was like an app that had all of this stuff, but they all just like do one thing really well, so it's kind of frustrating. Another one that is good, oh gosh, now I'm losing it. But these aren't the only apps. So you can certainly find which ones work for you and then go from there. So I'm just gonna open that red one, which was InShot. And then you have 3 options here. And I'm just always gonna click video. Like I said, I think this is free. And then it's gonna populate ones that are already, that you've created in here. So you probably have nothing if you've never used this app, or you can click the green new. And now it's going to show you your camera roll of all this content. And let me pick one that's not super embarrassing to edit. I will give a little shout out to this artist that I have had the opportunity to work with. Her name is Betty Reed. She's really, really awesome. So yesterday she had a music video shoot and I was there to capture content. So you just select whatever your video is, and then it's going to open your page to this. And so here's the video clip I selected, and then you have an array of options down here, and I have one video selected, but you could select multiple. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay, so here's an example. I've been capturing content. I'm doing a 75-day challenge. That means for 75 days, I'm doing so many things. I have 2 workouts, drinking a gallon of water, following a diet, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. But the fact is that I'm documenting little by little the process. So at the end of it, because this is how my brain works, I can select all of those content pieces and then they'll all go into this section, and then I can move them around, if that makes sense. So that would be an example of if you have multiple content pieces and you want to upload, or if you just have one full video. So let's say you didn't use iMovie, you'd prefer to use your phone or your iPad, perfect. Find your full-length video you filmed yesterday, that 3 to 5 minutes, upload it here, it's raw. So the only difference is in iMovie, you can't really open up this clip. And so I could get really fine-tuned and I could find those spots where I was between breaths. It's much harder to find those here because you're using your finger and it's not as big of a screen. So just into full transparency, I prefer if it is anything over like 60 seconds, or if I know I'm just trimming it for 4 smaller clips, then sometimes I'll still use this. But if it's helpful, at least in the beginning, to do it in iMovie first, and then I know this is annoying, but to airdrop it, and then you could chop it up here for an Instagram story, for a Twitter post, whatever it may be. But you have your video. All you want to do is, I just clicked this square. If you click it once, it's going to open it so that it's a longer clip, so you can see visually more of the video. If you wanted to make it small again, you just hold it down and now it's a square. This is helpful if you have multiple squares and you wanted to like move one before the other or behind the other. But I'm going to click it and now it's full length again, and now I can kind of scroll. Oh, goodness gracious. Now I can kind of just scroll through the video, and if I were looking for like a specific spot, then I could like cut it there. I'm not going to go through all of like the things you can do, but this is where you can add the text, that first thing, and you can type in any text, a header, anything below to add any context. You can add filters. I don't typically use these filters, but there are filters on here as options. You can also have picture in picture, that it says PIP, or well, it's abbreviated picture in picture, meaning that if you were like, and I have a giveaway, and if you wanted to put like a screenshot of the giveaway, like where your hand is, or if you just, as you're talking about something, wanted to put, and I'm talking about the YouTube video that I have, blah, 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 and then you wanted to have the thumbnail picture or an image of the YouTube video, then you can have it pop up in your screen as you're talking about it, which is nice. The next thing is pre-cut, which are the scissors. Really, you don't need to use any of these except for split and delete, which are right next to each other. Split and delete, they're kind of in the middle. I can't really see. What I do is I push the play button, which is up here at the top. I will just push play, and then as I'm hearing things, I will just split. I'll push the split button in between clips that I want, and then the same thing, I'll split if I start to do some bloopers or a mess up, and then I'll split at the end of it when I've had my moment and that blooper's done, and then I can click that middle part where I split it on both sides so that I know what the bad part is, and I just push delete. So you're doing the same thing that I showed you here, but just on your app, and it's with your fingers and stuff. So it's a little bit harder to navigate, or not harder necessarily, but you're working with smaller things. You can change the volume here. There's a volume button, so if it's too loud or too soft. You can also crop and rotate, flip these videos, which is nice. The last thing that I'll share is this. Oh, well, two things. There is music, so you could, if you had music elsewhere, or if you had audio. Yesterday I talked about filming, and if you have a lav mic, a lavalier mic, and you have it plugged into your phone and it's saving as a voice memo, I can add that voice memo to this app. I could also upload it here and then just pull it in, and then I would just pull this audio, this raw audio, all the way down, and I would have the audio that I just added from up here below it. And then you just got to match it and make sure it's fully in line, if that makes sense. Because it's going to be different from when you push play on your camera and when you push record on your mic. Okay, so you got to really find that moment where it's perfectly aligned so that it's not like I'm moving my lips, but my audio is moving behind me. But you can add your audio is what's nice for both of these. But you can also add music. There's copyright-free music on this app. And then the first thing says Canvas. So if you click that, this puppy will change this video. It was filmed in kind of like Instagram story reel dimensions, but I can now have it be a square post, and it's going to blur the background behind it because I was filming intentionally for like an Instagram story. I can make it a YouTube dimension, a TikTok dimension. I can change the dimension with one click. So this is what's nice. If you have a YouTube video, then you can easily clip, trim, find something that can be used for an Instagram story, and then you can also change the dimension so that it's an Instagram story dimension, even if you filmed horizontally for YouTube. We love that. Okay, I don't want to go into too much detail because I will cover some of this again tomorrow, and we are at an hour. So I lied to you again without meaning to, that I was going to have this be short. But I just get into these, and sometimes I'm like, oh, they need to know this too. So let's jump back really, really, really quick to talk about your homework. And like I said, I know we've had issues with sending the videos before. I thought that they could be sent as a comment, but there's issues. So I'm going to give you an email that you can send them to, and I'm going to give you all the feedback, I promise. You already know about the prizes, so a reminder to keep doing that. It's your turn to edit your video. So tonight, I know we started talking about, think about what other pieces could come from this video, but don't worry about that yet. We're going to talk about that tomorrow in more detail. Today, I just want you to take that 3 to 5 minute video. Maybe you already did this without realizing last night, but I want you to trim it down. I want you to edit it. I want you to cut anything out. And I want you to add a filter if you want. So like it's fully edited. That's what I should show you. CooneyCam, if you wanted to use that, this is pretty standard. I think this one you do have to pay for. I think it's $2. There are other ones. So, gosh, why can't I remember the other ones? I thought I had them here, but I recently just like deleted a lot so that I wasn't clouded down with a lot of apps I wasn't using. I think you can just type in like video in your app store, and then you can find ones that'll say in the description, like for filters or visuals and stuff like that. Like Boosted is another app, but that one really adds more animation. So I don't think that technically has like a filter. Oh gosh, it's so frustrating. I can't remember. Either way, if you use CooneyCam, it's $2. You select which video, it's gonna open your camera roll. You just select that video, and then you click edit. And then here you have all of these options for so many filters. So you can click any one of them, and then you can also click it again. Oh, this is so hard to do. Invertedly. And then you can only, like, you can pull back on the amount of that filter you're using. And then down here, there's also light options. So that's what you see a lot on my phone or on my videos where I add like lights that kind of come in and out. And then dust allows you to add kind of those little like specks and stuff. I don't know if you can even see a little bit, right? It looks like it's sparkling. So you can add that. You also can add like vintage filters. I don't know if that's helping or hurting, where it kind of looks like staticky. Oops, sorry. And then you can also add like the date. So if you wanted to add kind of like that vintage feel and it shows like the date on it, those are all options. So just to give you that idea. So your homework is to trim it down, to get out the dead space, to get out any clips that are no good, to have this final beautiful video that you love. And then if you want to add a filter or some visual effect on it, then you can. That's what you're turning in tonight to me. If you want feedback, if you want that team prize, and then tomorrow I'm going to show you, now that it's perfectly edited and you love the video, how we can trim it down into smaller pieces for you to then use across multiple platforms. Okay, so this is your homework for tonight. Reminder about the prizes, referral, the team, the participation, tag me online, whatever you need to do. If you have questions, I'm not running around all of Nashville like I was the last 2 days. So today, tomorrow, and Friday, I am all yours for questions in this group, for homework. So please don't hesitate. We're getting into the tougher stuff a little bit. So the more advanced stuff, let's say. So I know that if you do have questions, please, please, please don't hesitate to DM me on Instagram, on Facebook, in this group, and I will answer all of your questions through Friday. Okay, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow at 11, and I will be here on time, and we are not going to have technical issues, and I'm putting that in the universe. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday.